17th song, Bhagavan says, மனதின் உருவை மறவாது சாவ மனம் என ஒன்றில்லை உந்தி பர மார்க்கம் நேராக்கும் மீதுந்தி பர. So in the previous song, he said, leave out externalities and focus on yourself. Who has to do that? The ego has to do that. And the ego is nothing but mind. Mind and ego, they are all synonymous. It's got a lot. Mind, the ego has got a lot of names in form of ego, jiva, mind, samsara, and plenty of other names. Out of which this mind, we have come to, we now know who has to do this sadhana. The sadhana has to be done by the ego, or also known as the mind. Now, we need to know what is mind. So Bhagavan brings out that in this sloka. He first says what should be done with this entity called mind. Manadin uruvai maravadu usava. Manadin uru, that is a form of mind, has to be without forgetfulness. Maravadi, without forgetfulness, has to be scrutinized. When one scrutinizes in that form, they will slowly understand, I'm trying to scrutinize this entity called mind, but I'm not seeing any mind. Slowly he'll come to the conclusion, Manavena Undrille, there is nothing called mind. Margam near Arkumidundi para. This is the direct path for everyone. So, what it means? Manadin Uruvai, but without forgetting, without giving room for pramada. Pramada means forgetfulness. Pramada is a Sanskrit term. Without giving room for such pramada, trying to find out the form, scrutinize the form of mind, slowly come to the conclusion that there is nothing called mind. When one scrutinizes the form of mind without forgetfulness, that is without pramada or slackness of attention, it will be found that there is no such thing called mind. And this is the direct path taught by Bhagavan Rama. This is exactly what we should be doing. So, after knowing that mind should do the job, we are trying to find out, is there anything called mind? And we conclude that there is nothing called mind. So, but still, what happens? We still feel that there is something called mind. Because otherwise, what are we thinking with? We always think we are also familiar with the saying, you are not using your mind, use your mind. Our teachers have told us in school, so many people in work, our bosses have told, use your mind. So, this mind is something, whether we like it or not, accept or not, we always talk about the entity called mind. So, we should know what this mind is. In the previous song, it was declared there is no mind. And we are scrutinizing by means of scrutiny. And what is that scrutiny? Once more, that scrutiny is nothing but keenly focusing on the feeling called mind. Just like how we will keenly focus on the entity that appears like a snake in dim light. We go close, we scrutinize, we again and again slowly develop conviction or doubt that there is something wrong here. This does not seem like a snake. It is not moving for a long time. It is not responding to my action gesticulations. And we ultimately conclude it is nothing but rope, which is the adhisthana, which is the base on which the snake is appearing. Similarly, upon scrutiny of the mind, we will find out of the entity called mind, which appears like the feeling called I. Once we scrutinize it again very closely, by staying completely, by retaining all our attention on that feeling, this I grows only with the help of thoughts. Where thoughts are deprived, it is sort of starving. And we starve enough that it will fall off, that it cannot survive. Now, we are taking out all our attention away from the second and third person, that is things in front of us or things in the distant world, everywhere. We are removing our mind from all that and focusing only on the feeling of I, the first person singular. We are taking away our mind from the second and third person and focusing on the first person singular. And we also saw the elimination took place. Like this body is not the I. What is this I? We have been doing some little bit of discussion on this previously. So we'll have to apply that and find out that this Yushmat, that is this you, whatever can be, the mind is not me because I call it as my mind. The intellect is not me because I call it mind. They are all my belongings, my property. So after eliminating all this, whatever is there, the feeling is called I. That is the subject. Everything else is the object. So once we scrutinize this I, we're going to find out that there is nothing called I. Now, in the 18th sloka, it says, Yannangade manam yavelum nan yenum yanname moolamam undipara yanamanamenaluddipara. Yannangale manam. Only mind is nothing but a bundle of thoughts. Bhagavan is told that in a lot of occasions, including the book Who Am I? Mind is nothing but a collection of thoughts. There's nothing called mind. When we say nothing called mind, but we have thoughts, you cannot have. Thoughts are mind. Ennangale manam. A lot of these thoughts you put together, you call it as a collective name as mind. The thoughts are mind. And of all these thoughts, the moment the spark called I comes out of Satchitananda, Nan yenum enname moolamam. The first thought that comes to everyone is the root thought called I. And this root thought called I is also known as the thought called I am this body, because as we saw earlier, this I cannot survive in the absence of a body. It is a phantom. It is spineless. It is just form without the support of the body. So it considers, it catches hold of a body. This will be explained in 25th sloka of Ulladu Narpadu later on when we see that in more clarity, in more detail. This I will not survive in absence of a body. In deep sleep, the body falls, the feeling body falls, and the I falls. This I has to catch hold of something in order, either thoughts will have to be there at least, without which the I will fall flat. So, of all the thoughts that rises as soon as the ego arises from Satchitananda, the thought called I. Lot of books, lot of authors will write I thought, I dash thought. That is right. But the more clarity is given when you say it, the thought called I. That is when you know that I is nothing but a thought. Anything other than the Parabrahman is only a thought. This is Bhagavan's teaching. Bhagavan has made it abundantly clear to us that everything is only a thought. And hence, they are phantom. And hence, they are ghost-like. Uruvatra Pei, Bhagavan used to call it Ulladu Narpadu. Formless ghost is this mind. So, the first thought that comes to anyone is the thought called I, and that is what is called as mind. That is what we popularly call as mind. The mind is only a multitude of thoughts. Of all these thoughts, the thought called I, the feeling I am the body, alone is the root. Therefore, what is called as mind is nothing but this root thought I. Okay, so now Bhagavan has progressed from there and told us the nature of this I. Thoughts are mind and I thought is the first. So what does this lead us to? Where does this lead us to? So when we say Atma Vichara and when we have to eliminate everything, all we have to do is eliminate this I, uproot. Just pull the root out. You don't need to eliminate. That's why we say this Neti Neti Marga is one of the classical margas propounded in Vedanta, in a lot of Vedantic literature. But the problem is, I have to keep on eliminating. I am not this, I am not this feeling, I am not this body, I am not this senses, I am not this indriyas, I am not this karmendriyas, I am not this jnanendriyas, I am not this prana, I am not this panchaprana, I am not the thinking mind, I am not the intellect, I am not. And, okay, and how are we doing all this? With the help of mind. So, as said before, the thief is made as a policeman to catch the thief that is himself. The success rate is not going to be very big. You cannot meaningfully expect any great success in that method. So, here in this Atma Vichara Marga, we are not making use of the mind because we are going to the source of the mind. We are seeing where the mind is rising from. We are going to the Moolam. So, we are not trying to use the mind. We are going behind the mind. We are trying to transcend the feeling called mind and go behind and give a blank stare and see whether there is a mind, and we conclude there is nothing called mind, there is only Sachidananda Parambrahma. So this is the basic difference between Bhagavan's teaching of Atma Vichara and the classical method of Atma Vichara. All of them ultimately aims the same thing, but Bhagavan, the thing is, in classical method, we take the existence of the mind for granted initially and work towards negating the existence of mind. In Bhagavan's Marga, right from start, we are having a big time suspicion about the existence of a thing called mind. Bhagavan never allows us to, even for the sake of sadhana or practice, he never allows us to accept that there is an entity called mind. Right from the start, he makes us develop a suspicion towards the existence of mind, and he's given it in these slokas very clearly. So, yana manam ena undiyar. So, this feeling called I that happens, ennangale manam, or the thoughts are mine. Of all the thought called I is the first one to come out, and this thought is nothing but I. We the popularly called as, we call this thought as I. I am the body. And that is exactly what we need to get rid of.